By the way, I really, really want to make fun of somebody, and I know I've been in that mood lately to do that a lot, but I'm going to do it again. Can you imagine being a woman on the internet with an opinion? I'm not asking you to laugh, but that little bit of uncomfortability you felt, or that chuckle that you felt, whichever, the reason why you felt that is because there are women who legitimately believe that they should be spouting the opinion that people should not actually spout their opinion if they are female.
Why?
One such example is this dumb motherfucker. This is Rachel Wilson. Now, you may know her because her husband is Andrew Wilson, or, better known as Big Papa Fascist. A guy who's been on the Whatever podcast a lot, mainly because he makes a lot of money. A guy who made Matt Dillahunty walk away from a debate with him because he could not take him seriously. This woman. Let's hear what she has to say.
Do I think women shouldn't vote? If women didn't vote anymore, we would never have another Democrat president.
So women shouldn't vote because I don't want another Democrat president. Ignoring the utility of that, that's basically you saying that you don't want people having an opinion on their democracy. You want Russia. You want China. You want North Korea. You want a world where we have elections, but the outcome is always for the one party or the one leader. That's what you really want. Why are you such a goddamn idiot and want that?
We would never have another Democrat Senate, and we would never have another Democrat Congress.
You're right. You're right, Rachel. You're absolutely right.
So that's one of the reasons that because of the values I hold, which are actually a lot more conservative, even though I don't like the term, I'm a patriarchist, I'm an Orthodox Christian, I would be a monarchist if I could. But if we care...
I'd be a monarchist if I could. I think that it would be better if the United States did not actually do a revolution. I'm sorry, if you say I would be a monarchist, you can't also say you're a patriot for America. You can't say that you're that. You are not that. We did so much as a nation to not be part of a fucking monarchy. These people can't be taken seriously. They are fucking jokes. And yet there are podcasts that will host them on because they make money when they're on, because people want to see the blood sports.
Care about the things we say we care about, like small government, letting women vote, and
Wait. Hold on. You want small government, but you want a monarchy. Ma'am, you are aware of what a monarchy is, right? Like, I guess by definition, it would be smaller because you wouldn't have legislation passed by legislators. You would have one guy kind of dictating that shit downward. I guess technically you would have a smaller government, but ask yourself, why do you want a smaller government? Do you want a smaller government because you want government to get out of your fucking house? You want it out of your marriage? You want it out of your life? If that's why you want small government, then you don't want a monarchy, because the monarchy actually can fuck with you way more. Jesus Christ. These people are clowns.
you will never have that again. The reason the 19th Amendment was passed was because the progressive era liberals wanted to pass the income tax. They wanted to pass the Federal Reserve Act. They wanted a nanny state with welfare, and they wanted pro-immigration, open borders. And
So the Democrats, who historically haven't actually advocated for open borders, wanted open borders. The Democrats, who historically just... You're talking about shortly after the New Deal. This is very shortly after New Deal shit, when Democrats were at the height of their popularity. Those are the ones that you're arguing there. Also, let's pretend for a minute that all that is true, because all that might be true. You can have bad reasons for doing a good thing, and ultimately, from a utilitarian perspective, that good thing still happened, so who the fuck cares? Like, as an example, right? Let's say that you're somebody like Elon Musk and you decide that you want to make something like Starlink. And as a result of Starlink, which is basically glorified satellite internet, let's go ahead and be honest with what it is, but it is an improvement over the technology that existed before, you want to stroke your ego. And so you send Starlink to Ukraine, basically allowing people who are in a country that is being besieged to have access to the internet so that their information, their lived experiences can be begot unto the masses, right? Objectively, you did a good thing. Ignore the details of him trying to make Ukraine pay for it afterwards. Ignore that. That shit doesn't matter for this particular argument. You did it for bad reasons. You did it for publicity. You did it for your ego. You did it all this, but objectively, a good thing happened. People gained access to a resource that they weren't able to have. Also, Old Gus says, by the way, fact check, the Republicans passed the 19th Amendment. Them socialist Republicans, because it was pre the Southern Strategy. My God, that's hilarious. She's a fucking moron. Felice Gray says, hi from the UK. A monarchy is just a tax drain. Hardly anyone seems to care about Charles, especially with what comes out about his brother. Jepatique says, does she think England doesn't pay taxes? Anyway, you objectively did a good thing. You did it for bad reasons, and that motivation can cause you to do further bad things, but in isolation, a good thing came from it. Let's pretend that all of the most evil people in the world, terrible people, awful motivations, worst in the entire fucking planet, they were the ones who actually made it so that women were able to vote. It can still be the case that women voting was a good thing. It can still be the case that women being able to say their opinion, like you're doing right the fuck now, is a good thing. It is so hypocritical to say that women should not be able to vote, but also be spouting that opinion on a podcast. Why? Because what is a vote other than you casting your opinion for how the country should be ran? Well, you believe that that opinion should have some weight and should matter in some way, shape, or form. Yet you go on the internet and talk about women losing the right to vote as a good thing. So your opinion is that you shouldn't have a fucking opinion. It's hypocritical to the nines, and it is something to be made fun of. Sean Helfand says, yes, she does, because she's dumb and she doesn't understand how currency works. Again, I learned how money works from watching Captain Planet. Have you seen any other shows? They don't bring up the dollar bill in almost every single episode. Or yen? Jesus fuck. Jasta says, fun fact, the last two net good Republican presidents were like Ike and Teddy, 2 in 126 years. Jessa says, was it Hobobo or Morge who wore the censored mask on the floor of Congress? I don't remember if it was Lauren Boebert or if it was Marjorie Taylor Greene. I mixed the two up in my head, and one of them actually represented me in Congress.
Knew that if you only let men vote, you're never going to get that agenda passed. The whole progressive agenda would have never been passed without women voting. If what you care about is keeping this conservative agenda that you say you want for us and the social and fiscal conservatism, the fastest way to ensure that you never get that passed is letting women vote.
Yes, Rachel, that is factually correct. Because...
Okay, so when I saw this, Not So Erudite actually posted that you might as well include the rest of the clip. By this logic, you should insist black people can't vote or anybody with a vulnerability in education. I want to see what the full version of this clip is. What's different here? Because right now, I just see shit to make fun of. Also, Espen says, enjoy treat stream. Espen, thank you so much. I don't, is it a pizza? Is pizza what was sent? Because if so, thank you. That's amazing. I picked up Sakia pizza yesterday because it was Trans Day of Visibility, and there was a post saying you need to buy a trans woman a pizza, so I did. So I guess we have another pizza. It was Chipotle. Oh, life has improved greatly. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That is fucking amazing. I love Chipotle.
If women didn't vote anymore, we would never have another Democrat president. We would never have another Democrat Senate, and we would never have another Democrat Congress.
You're right, Rachel. You're absolutely right. You're making the argument that because people disagree with my personal political beliefs, that I should take away their right to vote. I'd like to, and I disagree with
that. That is the argument she's making. Yes, that is the argument she's making. If you are a conservative, but you want the people of America to have a voice, then you want everybody to have access to a voice. I remember having this argument with somebody when I was working with Progressive Victory up in New York. One of the people there, I'm not going to name whom, said that we shouldn't encourage Republicans to get out and vote. And I said, no, we should. Statistically speaking, when more people go out and vote, more progressive candidates actually get elected because the majority of the country is progressive. It's just about getting people motivated to get up off of their asses and actually go engage in politics. That's the part that sucks. That's the part that matters. So that disagreement was me going, hey, no, I want everybody to vote. I want everybody to get their opinions across. I will fight tooth and nail when I think an abusive one has been pushed through, but I want everybody having a vote. Anyway.
I think that the way to get people to vote how I want them to is by arguing that my ideas are better than somebody else's, not taking away somebody else's right to vote. Because then...
Thank you. There is certainly issues with this, but there's a hot mic moment that I think it illuminates this problem very, very poignantly. And let me see if I can find it real quick, because it is wild. If you want evidence in any way, shape, or form that these idiots actually do not want the American people giving their opinion out, there is a hot mic moment from Mike Johnson, where he said that it would be fantastic if fewer people came out to vote in the upcoming election. That would be fantastic for them. Now, I don't remember who sent me that video. There we go. I figured out what the hot mic moment was. So there's information online that was floating out about Mike Johnson saying that he was involved in a hot mic moment where he said that a decrease in voter turnout of 12 to 18% would be huge for the Republican Party. That's not what he said, but what he actually said is a little worse. Rita said that's the one I showed you in person. There's where I knew it from. So the video that they're talking about is this one, I believe, right here that I just looked up. And again, what's being said is not what is actually said in the video, but it is actually a little worse.
On a hot mic saying how huge it would be for Republicans if the SAVE Act actually went through, because they would lose 18% of voter turnout.
Well, we thought it would be 12, but it looks like it might be 18%. That'd be huge for us.
Yeah, you heard that right. Literally saying how huge it would be for the Republican Party if the SAVE Act actually happened.
Now, again, Snopes did a deconstruction of this, showing that in the discussion, they weren't actually talking about the SAVE Act in relation to that. What they said is that a 12 to 18% voter turnout would be huge for the Republican Party. Having only 12% voter turnout would be massive for the Republicans. They really like when there is a very low percentage of voter turnout. That is massive for them. But when more people vote for Republicans, or when more people vote in elections, actually, Democrats tend to win more. But anyway, I am done on that tangent. Back to the dumb person who says that women should not actually have opinions, actually.
You'd have to make the argument, Rachel, that we should take away Black people's rights to vote, or that would be a good thing.
Why? Why would we have to say
finish.
that?
Because
why would you say? Because if your argument is that it would be better for Republicans to not allow women to vote, then it stands to reason that people who largely vote Democrat are the people you're trying to stop from voting, and that includes Black people. That's why that follows, Rachel. That's why that follows. If one of us isn't free, none of us are fucking free. That's the rule, Rachel. That's the rule. If you want to strip rights from one group, then nothing is stopping you from stripping those rights from another group. You absolute bellend.
Black people vote 80 to 90% Democrat in every presidential election, which is a racist, obviously, position to have. You don't tell people, and your ultimate solution isn't to stop people from voting because you don't get what you want. It's making arguments to convince said people that your ideas are better.
Well, I don't give a crap about democracy. I don't like the...
Of course, you don't give a shit about democracy. Ma'am, I understand. When you have dog water opinions like yours, you don't really have a whole lot of stock in people being able to have opinions as well, because yours are so bottom of the barrel, the only way anybody's ever going to get to it is if the barrel is fucking empty. Axo says, never trust people with the wall covered in words. It's just the dressing for the whatever podcast, but also, yeah, I don't trust them.
To clarify that.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not a democracy enjoyer.
Okay.
I know that
Go to Iran.
I know you think that's
Cuba.
no.
So, like, every Republican ever that says that, like, if you don't like America, then go to a different country, when that gets aimed at them, suddenly they're like, no, I live here. I want to be here. Dude, you are the dumbest of the dumb. I am so sorry that you don't want me to listen to your wait, hold on. Actually, I don't have to watch any more of her videos. She's not a democracy enjoyer, so she doesn't like the idea of the masses having an opinion that changes anything. So it naturally follows, ipso facto, because Dorito said that, and then I Googled what it is, which is by the fact itself, so now I'm going to say that. That's my autistic word of the day. Ipso facto, I don't have to give a shit about anything she says, because she doesn't want anybody of her own gender having an opinion. Actually, she wants a monarchy, so she doesn't want any of us having an opinion that fucking matters. So I shouldn't have to care about hers. I don't. It doesn't matter. Nothing she says matters. Nothing she says can have any weight anymore because she doesn't want her opinions to have weight. She wants to live in a world where her opinions have no weight at all, and she has no control. So why would I allow her to control my time? Yep, no, we're done. We're done with the dumb idiot. Hey, you made it to the end. I want to give an extra thanks to the patrons who allow me to do this full time. I want to thank Aaron Rail, Astral, Britzkrieg, Jemshin, Poundini, Red Joker, Victoria, Jonas, Craig, Tarika, Fireshard, Smiling GM, John, Dren Hadamada, Creeper, Sagitta, you know I'm not saying that last part, Sylvie Snow, Valis of Seraph, Ottoman Angel, Rooster Rachel, and Fire Panda, who are all my $20 and up patrons.